quick question. How would you feel about making $223,000 in just a few months with nothing but a Google Doc and a Stripe link? Because that's exactly what happened when I stopped overcomplicating my business. And I just simply went back to basics with what I call the siphon model and low friction offers. So while most people are just out there building complex funnels, hiring teams, posting content all day and working, more than 80-hour weeks, I collected $223,000 working 3 to 4 days per week only with the simplest setup you can imagine. And it's not just me, okay? My clients are doing this as well. So Holly here, she went from 8K to 42K a month in 35 days. You can see the interview there. And as you can see, Holly only invested £760 to do this. And as you can see here, well, this is a 31.4K screenshot of her month. And she said, "It's not yet, but this month will be my biggest month ever in business. It's the best month I've had in 30 months. Okay, so the total ROI for her, so she invested 760, she returned 31.4K in this screenshot, and then this interview here, she goes on to say that she actually closed 42K in new deals. And the total ROI for this was a simple £760 investment, returning 42K in 35 days, which is a 55x return. That's £1 turning into over £55 in just over a month, which is borderline absurd ROI. We had Laurie here, who's a consultant. He went from $3,000 a month to $15,000 a month in just 3 weeks. The interview's here as well. And you can find that on my YouTube already. So he invested £1,500 in total, and it returned 15K in 3 weeks for him. The total ROI for Laurie was a 10x from just 1 month of returns. That's recurring as well. That 15K a month is recurring. If that revenue recurs monthly, the annual ROI exceeds 120x in total. And then last but not least, we had Francis, who's a creator. He started having 7K profit days in just 30 days. As you can see, Francis invested just £950 with me, and he hit a 7K day using my methods, and he just absolutely crushed it. So the total ROI for Francis was a 7.3x return. And if that happens even just once a week, you're looking at a 30x monthly ROI. So all these guys are absolutely just crushing it. And they're not doing it in months, right? They're not doing it in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. They're doing it within the first 30 days of working with me. So the main difference is not maybe so obvious on the front end, but they stopped building audiences from scratch and started siphoning prospects from their competitors' audience instead. That's what we're going to talk about today. So these guys, they stopped making complicated offers and started using low friction offers that make it stupid easy to say yes to. So I'm going to be breaking all of this down right now. You're going to be learning about the low friction offers, how it all works, how we're going to be siphoning existing audiences without having to build your own audience from scratch and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to go on to the script that makes me 1K a day. Then we're going to go on to how we're converting those prospects, onboarding them, and upselling them as well. So upsells, you can typically see a 33x ROI on the back end with this stuff that I'm going to show you. So we're going to be breaking it down. It's going to be a bit of a longer video. It's going to be more like a mini course or a mini kind of program. And this is exactly what I'm doing inside my business right now, only working 3-4 days a week, helping all these guys make all this cash. Okay. So let's dive in. So as you can see here, 2 screenshots, it's over 225K in total USD, but that's obviously in pounds because I'm from the UK. So let's get started. So the way I do things is a little bit differently. Most people or most coaches, consultants, gurus, whatever you see online will teach you how to build an audience, right? Build a big audience or just build an audience that are going to buy stuff from you, right? So the whole idea is to get them in your funnel, pitch them something, sell them something, maybe smaller products, high ticket products, whatever, high ticket services in any shape or form, right? You're going to help them solve a problem, okay? So instead of that, I just go to people that already have really high engaged, super engaged, super hungry audiences. And then I just speak to them instead. I might create something like a lookalike offer or a low friction offer. But we're going to get into that bit in a minute, but let's start with the siphon audience stuff. So first things first, I put 3 types of audiences that I personally look for. So my business is a coaching / consulting business. And these are the types of audiences that I personally go after. Okay. So coaches, consultants, and creators, copywriters, and agency and B2B type audiences. Okay. So here's a really good example. So if you want to sign these types of people, you're going to have to go into find these types of people. Okay. So these people actually all follow me, but as you can see, they've all got decent sized audiences, and these are the types of people you want to be siphoning. So for example, the reason I picked Francis here is because he's already working with 7-8 figure brands, but he also has a consulting and coaching business as well. Obviously, he was one of my coaching students as well, but he's done 25 mil online. He's got an authority, right? He's an authority figure. People are buying from him. People know, like, and trust him. So myself personally, if you've seen me online, I actually forgot to put screenshots of my own X on here, but let me see if I can get this up real quick and then I can show you. And you can just go to my subscribers on this channel. But basically, I have, you can see that wicked. So I have only 1,400 followers on X, yet I make more than some audiences or some, coaches, consultants, or some people online that have 30K plus followers, right? That X account plus my YouTube is literally 3K followers. So I make 10X the amount of what someone does with 10 times less audience size. So that's kind of crazy to think about, really. And that's only because I've developed this model / protocol / process that enables me to do that. And I've been doing this for a little while. So yeah, so Francis is like a really good example of that. Okay. So, I look for people that have got large enough audiences. Maybe they're not so good at converting those audiences into, paying customers. And that's actually what I help a lot of these guys do. So I just help them extract all the cash or extract all the revenue or customers or new clients that may be hiding already inside their inbox, in their lead lists, in their audiences, and come in and build these protocols and systems out in their own businesses. And that's what I sell to them, right? I coach them, I consult them, or even sometimes, in some cases, I do it for them. So that's my business model. So I can see quite clearly where these lines are getting blurred and why these guys can't sign clients. It's typically because they've been relying on inbound for too long. They actually generally don't know how to lead a sales conversation. And maybe they're just focused on other things in their life, or they're just too busy in their own client fulfillment. They haven't got the time or the knowledge or the experience to maybe convert these people. And that's closing them without sales calls, right? So you may have seen there's, close without sales calls and all this kind of stuff. We do that. So we do both sales calls and closing the DMs as well. I've got loads of examples to show you, so I'm quite pumped. But yeah, so Francis is a really good example. He's obviously got an email list and he's selling to people online. That's great. So he's a perfect example of a coach, consultant, creator type I'd go after. So typically I'd just get in touch with his, followers, maybe speak to the people who he hasn't got around to closing, because there's quite a lot of people to speak to. And, if you can get 20 or 30 of these customers from his audience, then it's pretty good going. Andrew's another fine example, and Andrew's actually a friend of mine, and he's an amazing copywriter. He's just doing ridiculous numbers, and he's got such a whole wealth of lifetime experience and knowledge, and he's a fellow Brit as well. So he's just a great overall guy. He's a big gamer type as well, and we talk a lot about that. Super lovely guy. We speak often, and I've learned a lot from this guy in my career of spanning over 4 years now. But he has a large audience, but I've noticed that Andrew isn't actively selling anything to his audience. So he's built this 37,000 follower account audience, yet he hasn't sold anything as much to them yet. So I would typically go in and maybe contact his audience, contact some people there. Hey, and then the cool thing is as well, if you have big creators following you, that's a huge plus for you, because it shows authority. This amazing copywriter is following me, which means that we sit in the same bucket, right? We have that connection. So people are going to see that and they're going to resonate, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I noticed you also follow Andrew, but you're not being followed by Andrew. So I've got something, it's kind of a plus, right? It's another pro to speak to you, and it's a bit interesting. Last but not least is Nick Abraham. So Nick Abraham runs Leadbird, and he has a performance-based lead generation agency, and he's just one of the best to ever do it in the agency space, at least in my opinion. So done for you basis, is extremely good, operational, all that kind of stuff. So I would imagine or expect that his audience would also be very interested in what he has to sell, whether they're looking for more leads or they're just looking to scale their agency or they're just doing something online that requires lead generation, closing, sales, operations, that kind of stuff. So another kind of angle that you can go after, this is just a prime example. If you're a fitness coach, for example, these three guys aren't going to be relevant. Maybe Andrew, because he does copy, but the rest, probably not. Maybe you're going to look at other fitness type people and then you can siphon their prospects as well. So, you could do it per niche or per industry type. You could do it per niche or per industry type, but this is my example, okay? So, moving on. And then what we do is once we've decided whose audience we're going to go after, you don't really need that many people. You don't need to build an audience yourself. I did this with 70 followers. I was closing deals with 70 followers on Twitter, and I was targeting companies that were doing millions of dollars in revenue, and I was still closing them. Why? Because I actually spoke to them. A lot of people think that they have to have this big audience to sell thing, or big audience to start selling a product to. It's just simply not the case, and I'm living proof of that, and my clients are as well. So here's the $1,000 a day DM script. And it's just super ridiculously simple. Now, if you're adding these guys into it, it would be a little bit different simply because you could say something like, hey, notice you also follow Nick Abraham, or hey, also notice you follow Andrew Gould. Not going to spend too much time on this. This is literally the most straightforward thing, and you can start doing it right now while you're watching this video. It's actually what I implore you to do. So, hey, first name, notice you're following Nick as well. We just helped credible brand or client solve specific pain and add X amount in time frame. Would it be crazy to walk you through it, or any other CTA of choice? But this is typically what has got me majority of my success, okay? Finding people I can siphon prospects from and then hitting them up, because maybe these guys, I know Nick doesn't have an agency program. Like, he doesn't have a consulting or coaching program. So all the people following him may be prime to receive a DM from someone who actually does have an agency or a growth consulting program or some kind of product they can sell to them, right? Whether it's done with you, DIY, done for you, whatever. That's not that kind of cool video, but we can get into that some other time if you like that. But Nick doesn't sell a product, Andrew doesn't sell a product, and Francis sells a product, right? Just to give you some examples, right? These people don't have products, but I have a product and I can sell it to their audiences, right? So I don't need to do any guesswork, really. So what you can do is also comment and engage on their stuff and, speak to people there too. Anyway, so these are the results of the 1K day DM script. And I get comments like, just paid, excited and nervous, to be honest, really looking forward to working with you, really looking forward to working with you. That's great. I watched your videos, testimonials, and looked you up on LinkedIn. I'm satisfied we need to have a go with you. Like, this is an everyday thing. So this was a really interesting conversation as well. So you're going to get obviously ones like this. What will you try and sell me? And the trick is not to be too serious. I'm not going to go into all the nitty gritty of like what to say and what not to say. I mean, people pay me for that, right? But this guy was like, what will you try and sell me? I pitched this, right? This is all I pitched. I said that, and he just said, what will you try and sell me? I was like, look, nothing at this point. Currently qualifying you. If that's cool, you can tell me to F off, right? And he was like, so my bottleneck is probably having a clear direction over ICP, blah, 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 blah. Basically, this is just like confidence, right? It's just a confidence thing. And that can't be learned, but it can be practiced, right? And it's just doing this stuff all day, exposing yourself to uncomfortable situations. And so for some people, DMing is very uncomfortable. People kind of skip that and rely on referrals, network, content, algorithms, like all this kind of stuff inbound, because they haven't cracked this very uncomfortable skill. It's like cold calling, but by text. So it's actually easier because you don't have to actually speak to anyone on the phone. I say easy, but I guess more simple. And it works across the platform. Obviously, this is a cold DM, / warm DM, because I'm already following these guys. And when they get a follow or an engaged DM from someone who's being followed by someone they follow, that's more enticing, right? I'm not a complete stranger. We are in the same ecosystem or ecosphere. We just haven't spoken yet. And I'm going to change that, right? I'm going to speak to them. So an interesting one as well is this also works at a grander scale. Obviously, this is a very household name. Some of you may own a Samsung or you're an Apple, but at the end of the day, they're both multi-billion, trillion-dollar industries, businesses. So simple. Thanks, Kai. Great. 2 p.m. Tuesday works for me. Would you send an invite? So this doesn't just work at this scale for coaching clients. It also can work on a done for you basis as well. Obviously, I'm not going to coach Samsung on how to do anything. I'll probably do something, done for you or build for them or something. But the point of this practice or point of showing you this part of the video was because this is what's happening in my business. That's £7,000 there pretty much. And that's close to $10,000. So I'm actively adding 10K per every other week or every week to my business, at least every 15 days to my business. And we're doing 5 to 7 new clients or customers per week as well. So every single week, I'm increasing my MRR by 17% and increasing my new customers by 40%, which is outrageous. Okay? That's how I'm able to get these numbers. And that's how my clients are able to get these numbers. You just need to speak to more people that are inside your ecosystem, or if you don't have them in your ecosystem, find them in someone else's ecosystem, okay? Because these guys have spent a very, very long time to curate these audiences or follow accounts, right? September 2021, October 2021, 3 or 4 years worth of audience building at your fingertips. You do not need to build an audience yourself. You do not need to have a large audience. You do not need to have a bajillion followers. You need to stand on the shoulders of giants and pitch them in a competent manner that gets responses like this, that get results like this. Okay? If I can do it, you can do it. Okay? So, how do we even talk to them? Right? So I've shown you, a glimpse behind the curtain, like what I'm doing, audience, DM, blah, blah, blah. But Kai, how the hell do I talk to these people, right? It's quite a common problem. Oh, by the way, while I'm here, figured I'd just get the call to action out the way now. So if you like what you're seeing so far and feel this is useful and could help you, first, you can subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Turn notifications on because I'm going to be posting a metric fuckload ton of videos. If you haven't already, then go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter as well. The link is in the description where I'll be sharing 1 tip and 1 offer per day that could help you implement all of this stuff, okay? It's kaibero.co.uk. Cool. Right. So that's out the way. Let's talk about conversion. So majority of the time, if you're watching this, you have been relying on inbound and follows, likes, comments, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to build this for that, okay? So this is how conversions work. You get follows, likes, and comments, aka engagement, either from an audience or your audience or whoever it is, and maybe you get inbound DMs as well. But this is how to position those conversations, right? So your opening message could be something like, this is the connect phase, right? Appreciate the follow, like, or comment, and then use their name. Very simple, that's it. Second is you want to start triaging them. You want to start finding out if this person is a qualified human being for you to start working with. So what you want to be doing is asking them, are you running a business model? Are you running a coaching business? Are you running a consultancy? Are you running an agency? X, Y, Z. Okay? That's mini triage. And then what we want to be doing is qualifying these guys and finding the gap. So we want to find out, like, what's your goal here on X? Like, what's your goal here on LinkedIn? What's your goal here with X, Y, Z, right? Once you figure that out, you want to then find a need, okay? So you found the gap, found the need, now we're doing that. So what do you feel is holding you back from goal, okay? Is there anything stopping you from achieving this? Or have you achieved this? Or how close are you to achieving this, right? So how, what, why is a very good thing to practice here. So how, what, why? Those are 3 questions like I like to find out. How are you going to do that? So help is very important. So, hey, they've turned around and said, yeah, so my goal is to hit 100K a month by the end of this year. What's holding me back is the fact that I don't feel I have enough leads or blah, blah, blah. So you're like, cool. Well, all right, how are you going to achieve this, right? You want to find out like what their strategy is. And if their strategy is not like optimal, then you can hit them up and be like, okay, well, I know low friction offers and I know Siphon. So that's something that Kai did. Or I worked with Kai on this, and you're obviously not going to say this to the prospect, but you've now learned these protocols and practices that has enabled you to do all this stuff, right? So obviously you may have your own model at this point in time, but this is mine and this is what works for me. So suggest open to exploring how we can hit goal together. If they're not, if they're if their whole thing's like not optimal, if their whole strategy or practice is not optimal, then you can suggest to help, right? Why not? So now we're going to be setting and closing. We're going to come to the end of the discussion with them, and we're going to be like, cool, here's my calendar, strategy map, or document. If you've been following this channel for a while or follow me for a minute, you'll know that I use documents. I don't actually get on that many sales calls anymore. I do still if I want to, right? If they're a cool, interesting person. But typically I try not to get on calls anymore because I'd rather just sell via email or chat or DM or whatever. So like, here's my calendar, strategy map doc. Some people sell, of course, some people don't. Okay. And then just simply book in the call or close them. So, and then the cool thing is like you go from the conversion to the onboard, and the onboard's pretty cool. So we're going to see if this actually loads. If it doesn't, then we have a problem. Okay. So we may have to go here, and I'll show you it in real time. So this is, right, so I'm just going to do it here then. This is my desktop version. So this is like an example onboarding document I'd run through with a new client. You just obviously want to practice. They've obviously signed up, they've paid, they've started their first week with you, whatever. If you want to go over all the different offers that I actually sell to people, then there's another video around on this video. I think it's tactical offers or something like that. I'll try and link it. Anyway, so this bit here, like the goal is 1 to 2 clients per week over 16 weeks, finishing 32 clients. This is just like what we're going to achieve with the customer or the client, right? So I always get them, like 90% of your focus over the next 16 weeks should be on these things. Am I generating leads, not from ads or through any traffic channel? Am I nurturing those leads? Am I having conversations? Are those conversations leading to calls or closes? Am I closing deals? That's all I care about, right? If your problem in your business is actually closing more deals and signing more clients and getting more lead flow, deal flow, then this is what you need to focus on. So, and then I focus on these 4 things as well. So offer, messaging, unique mechanism, niche, offer, messaging, unique mechanism, niche, fulfillment as well. Fulfillment as well is very important. Go over the content strategy, fulfillment, customer journey, client acquisition channels they want to use, any tasks they might need to complete. That's basically the onboarding. Like, that's so straightforward. I try not to make it any more confusing than some people might already find it. And this is how I upsell them. So you need to just, in the onboarding process is really simple, because you want to have a really good onboarding process with a new customer or client, right? You want to get them out, winning out the gates as soon as possible. That's how I can achieve, these guys can get results in 30 days, 3 weeks, 2 weeks in some cases, etc. And this is obviously not my first rodeo. I've been doing this for 4 years, and I've had 3 6-figure businesses on the back end of it, and in real time we're making another one. So this is how we're doing it. So you need to show so much competence and so much proof that you know exactly what you're doing in this stage, because we're going to use this to leverage the next step, which is upselling them. Now, we want to upsell them within 24 to 72 hours of working with you, because that's when they're hot. They've just made a decision to work with you. Now they're probably thinking, that call was so great. Like, I've got limited access to him on this model or her. How can I buy more stuff with him that maybe accelerates my progress? Now, you're not going to know that stuff until you pitch them that. So this is how I do it. This is a quick one. Actually, this is a little bit longer, actually. It's like 4 pages, but I'll try and whiz through it. So I did say this is going to be like a more of a mini course. But yeah, so upselling secrets. How I turned a 250-week client into a 16K client. As you can see here, £12,000 here is 16K, and these are all other people that have paid me ample amounts of money as well. So most agencies and consultants are leaving a ton of money on the table. Coaches, creators, consultants also included in that. They land a client, do the work, and then move on to the next one. But your existing clients are your biggest untapped gold mine. Okay, they already know you, like you, and trust you. They've seen the results. Most importantly, they have more problems you can solve. The key is to master the art of the upsell. So contrary to popular belief, upselling isn't about manipulation or sales tactics. It's about genuinely understanding what they want and then offering them a solution to solve that, right? So I recently hopped on a call with some of my coaching students to break down the upsell process. We covered a lot of stuff, but here's basic framework we've been using. We clearly map out your client's current challenges on the original onboarding call document. You paint a vivid picture of their dream scenario and desired outcome. You map out a bridge that takes them from where they are now to where they want to get to. You position the upsell offer as the vehicle that would get them across that bridge faster and easier with less headache and less bullshit. You just need to pay a bit more, right? For example, let's say you have a client who's been working with on cold email, for example, like random one, doesn't need to be cold email, it could be whatever you sell. They're getting good results, but mention that they're struggling to handle the influx of new leads, but they're also trying to create content, build out their sales process, and hire a team or whatever they want to do. So you can apply this to coaching, consulting, creative stuff like, B2B, high tech, high stakes consulting, whatever. So this is the perfect opportunity for an upsell. You could put together an offer that looks something like this. You can just call it like profitable scaling intensive program or whatever. You're doing great with service, but I know you have big goals to hit this year. Right now you're facing these challenges, X, Y, Z. Here's my suggestion. Let's work over the next 16 weeks to achieve all these things. And the goal is to, free up your time and mental space so you can focus on your zone of genius while the business scales in the background. I'm confident we can achieve X, Y, Z. Investment is X. And if you notice what the upsell offer does, it directly does all this stuff, right? So your specific offer will depend on your niche, skill set, and unique situation of each client. But the key is to always be on the lookout for opportunities where you can offer additional value and make additional cash. So the pricing these offers is a whole nother conversation. I'll probably make another video on it at some point. But my general rule of thumb is at least 10 to 20, even just 20% of the client's monthly revenue, depending on their profit margins. But if they're doing 100K and 85% profit, a 10 to 20K upsell could make sense, right? If they're doing 10K a month, then I've charged 4K, 6K, 8K, something in that range. But again, there's no one size fits all. Pricing is an art and science. You have to weigh your value against their financial reality and find the sweet spot. The most important thing I've learned is that to get them is the habit of making these offers as much as possible. So when they onboard, when they have a client win, when they say something positive, when they're just maybe every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, just let them know that this stuff is available to purchase and you're going to increase or maximize your potential to get paid more. So, but upselling isn't about like squeezing every last dollar out of your clients. It's about delivering a massive return on that. That's why I included like what kind of ROI these guys are getting from working with me, either in a small batch, smaller batch. This was like these guys paid like a weekly recurring. So this would have been like 3 or 4 payments, 3 payments. And in 3 payments, she's already got this. But then she might pay more. I'll picture again once she's got the result. But the thing is, you have to really qualify who you want to work with, because these 3 are like rock stars, They went in, they took on board what I told them to do, and they executed and they delivered for themselves, not for me, right? My stuff just helps them get there faster. They were already going to succeed, right? I just like point them in the right direction, with all this like protocols and systems and stuff. So all that stuff, right? Okay, cool. So let's just go back here for a minute. Where are we? So here. So yeah, obviously we want to build long-term relationships and a stellar rep in the industry. So go through your client roster this week. Who could you be helping? Just start building out those real big, profitable relationships with people. Okay. And to start upselling. So a typical upsell message could be like, hey, by the way, I have this, other paid thing that you might be interested in. Notice if you really want to achieve goal. So on the onboarding form, obviously get their goal and like what they want to achieve and stuff. And then use that. Like, say, for example, they want to retire their parents, or they want to spend more time with their wife or their kids, or, hey, this will help you actually spend more time with XYZ or achieve XYZ or do XYZ or whatever. So that way, you're not like, you're tying it to a goal that they want to achieve that isn't always monetary. It's always good to have a kind of secondary or even third goal that they'd like to achieve. And you can simply ask that on the onboarding. And then I'd be like, hey, by the way, I can send you over the details or send you over a document or mini map that or a visual aid that could help you achieve this goal faster. You've already paid this. You can put this towards it. Let me know. Cool. I've got a couple of spots on it, whatever. And that's what leads to this. So really and truly, like that's that model. Like this is a half an hour video already. I mean, if you want any more details on all that, on how it all works, I will be opening a batch of 20 seats to help people learn all this stuff, implement this inside their business. If you want more details, you can either DM me on X. My profile is Kai_Cabero, or you can just sign up for my newsletter, kaicabero.co.uk. And I'll be making more videos like this. I'm looking forward to it. See you soon. Cheers.